you're going to find yourself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So you're off in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. Doesn't qualify as well as he races. Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haight deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin. But I would say it's not the best decision I've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately, isn't it? What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the out pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Oh, Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well. Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third. Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed more and forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go. Well, don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin, further down Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly, Miller's just like trouble. He's not a second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Bill Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah.
It's all about the entertainment.
So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is enjoying himself watching a Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there. Is it really bunching up now?
Good evening and welcome to the Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli in Italy for round 5 of the iGPFun Super Formula Lights League. My name is Adrian Hunter. On the cameras and alongside me in the commentary box is Mr. Dean Biggles. And one of us is going to be watching the race. The other one is probably going to be having half an eye at least on the final of the Euros, which is currently taking place between Spain and Great Britain at the moment. Although, of course, we have got a Spanish driver, Tony Jimenez, and one British driver who the only me and one other person in the UK that's not watching the football right now, and that must be Mr. Rino Schettini. He's also taking part today. But wow, Dean, we're in for a very, very exciting 34 laps here as this championship gets underway once more.
Hello, hello, welcome. Where is Reno? I can't see him on the...
He is in 16th at the moment in this warm-up session.
Oh, yes, I see. Reno, yeah. There's also a Welsh driver there, Eddie Amos, if he cares about
Oh, that's true. Wales
well.
is part of the UK, isn't it? Yeah,
Yes, but it's England, not the UK. It's the England team.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes, I also didn't have this track as well, too. This is the first time I've actually purchased this track for my racing, so you might have to help me out a lot with that one, the Italian track.
The only reason I know which way this goes, because usually Misano is usually used for motorbikes, hence it's been named after the late, great Marco Simoncelli. But the only reason I know which way it goes is from watching the Formula E races earlier this year, which were kind of a bit of a mess because of the peloton style racing where everyone's bunched together. It's unlikely we're going to see that because energy saving's not really a priority here. But anyway, before we go any further, before qualifying starts, should we go over the top 10 then in the Drivers' Championship so far? Of course, we've got drop scores to come in later on, but we can go through the totals then so far after 4 rounds. So, unsurprisingly, for anyone who's been watching the last 2 races, championship leader is Portugal's very own Pedro Suarez on 165 points. About 7 points behind, 157 points is America's Mackenzie Roon in second. Then Dutch driver Kevin Zemstra is third on 154 points, 3 behind Mackenzie Roon. Then another American, Brent Rees, is fourth on 143 points. Just ahead of his countryman, Robert Ridgway, just a point behind on 142 points. Then Antonio Jimenez is on 130 points in 6th. Andy Flint is in 7th on 127 points. 8th is Christian Glamsetter on 120. Ibard Rabiard, the Frenchman, is 9th on 119 points. And then rounding out the top 10 is Evan Way on 96 points. Now, a big... well, I don't want to say controversy, but a big upset at Silverstone in the heavy torrential rain conditions was that Lee Aberdeen, the reigning champion, crashed out. So now he is equal 14th in the championship with Kinsey Newhoff. And that's certainly not what Aberdeen, the Scotsman, would have been hoping for, because it really puts him at a big disadvantage. He's no longer got that safety net for the rest of the season. So it's looking like it's going to be an uphill battle to retain that title.
Well, on top of that one, I have an iPad over here just watching the football as well. England have just scored as well, so it's equalised, in case anybody is listening. Spoiler alert. So there you go.
Sure
73
Eddie
minutes into the game.
Reno will be cheering and punching the air as they hear that. And,
Tony Jimenez, as you said, the Spanish, because Spain's playing as well too. That's the reason why James is not broadcasting today too, because he wanted to watch the football.
I love that commitment from our leader and our paymaster as well.
Oh, he works hard all the time anyway.
More complimentary.
So give him a bit of a break.
But anyway,
the grid should be coming up in a second because the qualifying session is done and dusted. And here you go, my friend.
There we go. So that's 3 drivers that will be very, very infested, and the other 24 will not care at all. Pedro Suarez then on pole position once more, unsurprisingly, from Nicholas Vesman. Tony Jimenez will start 3rd. Just ahead of Kevin Zemstra. Then Brent Rees 5th, ahead of Evan Way in 6th. Christian Glamsetter will begin the race from 7th position, ahead of Fabio Rabiard. Andy Flint and Kevin Byland on row 5 together. Then it's Eddie Amos, ahead of Robert Ridgway on row 6. Row 7, Patrick Williams, ahead of Marcis Putnieks, the Latvian driver, of course. Nguyen will start in 15th, ahead of Rino Schettini. Then it's Kuji Ito in 17th, Ben Goyette 18th, Joseph Mark Lucas 19th, Zoltan Zomotor rounds out the top 20, then Denny Cornu 21st, Dorian Arroyo 22nd, 23rd Daryl Govender, Matthew Gracie is in 24th position. Then our final 3 drivers on the grid should be Adam Talsma, Costas Tenebrel, and Sebastian Gravland. Don't believe
Excellent.
Grabland or Tenebrel set a time there. So there we go. We got through the grid before the race began, which is a bit of an achievement. It looks like Tony Jimenez's not on the grid. Is he busy watching the game?
I think he might be, yes. Come on, Tony, load in, my
Oh
friend.
no, that's Zemstra, isn't it? That's just popped in there.
Yeah, no, Tony's in P3. You can see that P3 position. There he is. There's just
There we go.
And
There's
we're waiting
Tony.
for Kevin at the moment there, the Norwegian
Byron.
driver in P10, and then we should get green. Go.
All right, so tension building then ahead of round 5. Can Pedro Suarez make it 3 in a row, or can Nicholas Vestman stop him in his tracks? The Hydro race driver will start from pole on the right-hand side of the grid, but it's Nicholas Vestman, the Finnish driver, who will start alongside him on the front row. And it's the XPD of Tony Jimenez in third. Here we go, the light's about to go on, and we'll be underway at Misano World Circuit then. And it's Suarez that gets a very, very clean start, but it is Jimenez that gets ahead of Vestman on the run into turn 1 then. They still side by side through that initial chicane. And remember, no real overtaking allowed in the purple zone on this first lap then through turns 1, 2. We go into turn 3, and then it's 4, 5, and 6. And then after 6 on the long run uphill through into 7 and 8 through Chiera. That's when the overtakes will be permitted then. So everyone lying astern. Suarez making hay up front then. But Nicholas Vestman has been able to hold on to second, and now in fact Zemstra is having a go at Jimenez, and Brent Ruiz has a look around the outside as well. So Jimenez loses a position. Evan Way passes Brent Ruiz and Christine Glamsetter as Ruiz goes very, very wide onto the runoff there. So the as we see Eddie Amos in trouble as well, and losing a couple of positions to Patrick Williams then, and Robert Ridgway. But it is Pedro Suarez, Nicholas Vestman, Kevin Zemstra, Tony Jimenez, sorry, Evan Way, Christine Glamsetter, Brent Ruiz, Fitbit Rabiard, and Kevin Byland and Andy Flint, your top 10.
Looks like back up the front here. Tony is putting a bit of pressure currently at the moment on the Flying Dutchman, currently running in a P3. And you can see the top 2. Pedro had a fantastic launch. He's got away, but he's starting to get hunted down currently by Nicholas Wesman at the moment.
Yes, and with Mackenzie Roon, I believe, absent from this race, Kevin Zemstra's got a brilliant opportunity to take second in the points table. Although he's trying to fight for second on the road at the moment. Pedro Suarez leads by 7/10 now, and predictably sets the fastest lap of the race as they once more go through the turn 1 and 2 chicane then. And Tony Jimenez may in fact start to worry about Evan Way, who's looking pretty threatening, the Canadian, in the rear view mirror. But Nicholas Vestman is forming a big train, isn't he? Oh, and off track goes Ridgway for the Atomic Racing team. And so he's lost a whole bunch of places and re-emerged down in 15th then, just behind Nigun.
I love that name, Nigun. That's really cool. Here's
Maybe I'm
Evan
pronouncing
Way,
it wrong.
as we'd mentioned, they're currently at the moment just on the back there of Tony, who's in the back there of Kevin. And then you've got Christian Glamster and Brett Roots. All familiar names, big top guns in this fantastic league that's been around since the dawn of time. Probably since the dawn of bloody iRacing, really, the other day, isn't it? 20 years for
The league's been around, but this particular part of it is only in its 3rd season technically. So this iteration, we are in pretty the early phases, I would suggest. But in terms of the early phase of this race, Suarez now just 9/10 ahead of Nicholas Vestman, as we see Andy Flint fighting Rabiard for 9th position then as they go into turn 5 and 6. As just behind, if you look at Eddie Amos, Putnieks, Nigun, and Robert Ridgway are all squabbling away for that 11th place just outside the top 10. There is Eddie Amos behind Patrick Williams then as they go through the final corner. That, of course, being, I believe that's turn 16 is the final corner here. Just called Misano, creatively enough. So the first chicane, I believe, is called the Variante del Parco, which is certainly got a nice little flow to it. Looks like behind Suarez, Vestman, is that Zemstra now, that there's a little bit of a drain forming behind. So Vestman has started to up his pace a bit, and in fact sets the fastest lap of the race, 1:28.451, matching Pedro Suarez that previous lap. Now Zemstra looking a little bit less confident now. He hasn't got someone to slipstream down some of these longer straights here.
Let's have a little bit of squabble.
More squabbling. This is Denny Cornu. Yeah, Cornu up the inside then of Kuji Ito, the Japanese driver, and Ito in the 146 is bumped back down to 19th position then. So great positioning from the Unity Racing driver, Denny Cornu, as the Frenchman continues on his way then. Now we cut to Brent Rees. Didn't make too much progress at the start, still down in 7th position and chasing down. In fact, he's lost 2 positions. He's now behind Christian Glamsetter and Evan Way. As we look at Jimenez, look how wide he was coming out of turn 16 on the runoff as he fights for that final spot on the podium with Ken Zemstra, as Patrick Williams loses 2 positions, and now Putnieks put to move on Robert Ridgway for 12th.
Yeah, what happened to Paddy? Must have gone off. I'm not quite sure if he's gone off track a little bit. I don't see anything on the telemetry, but you can see the red-nosed McLaren livery back in the day. You're also very, very good at that Japanese pronunciation as well, Tim, my friend. One of those names are very hard to pronounce.
Yeah,
you got that one perfect.
Could be Ito, I guess, but I'll sort of go with a soft eye. As we look at Glamsetter trying to fight Evan Way for 5th position then. The Canadian tries to defend the middle of the road and is able to hold the Norwegian at bay then, as the No Limit Sim Racing of Glamsetter then is biding his time. They go on to the backstrap. This is out of turn 10 on the long run into 11, 12, and 13. This is just a big flat-out section, so great opportunity for Glamsetter to go all the way around the outside of Evan Way if he wishes. Evan Way got nobody to the slipstream just in front of him. Now into the tight right-hander as it bunches up, and Glamsetter goes wide, and that creates the opportunity then for Brent Ruiz to retake that 6th position. But Glamsetter fighting back as Ruiz gets a little bit sideways and very, very wide, and losing a lot of time there as Kevin Byland now is harassing him into the final corner. And yeah, Brent Ruiz, once he got offline, all the grip disappeared there.
Yeah, I don't know. Was it the grip or was it perhaps an early slowdown? Yeah, it could have been a slowdown as well too. So that seems way too much.
It took him a long time to get back up to speed though.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
Shame, because it looked like a legitimate overtake. It didn't look like he went off track to overtake, but it was after the overtake was done that he made that little mistake, and it had big consequences, because it's instead of gaining a position, he's lost one for going from 7th to 8th. But look at here near the back of the field. This is the battle for 23rd position with Arroyo in 22nd, just in front of them in that red car, the black and red car of Govender, or driving and representing the nation of South Africa, of course, holding off the Canadian Adam Talsma. And Talsma has had a bit of an up and down season so far. He's running 12th in the points at the moment, just behind Simon Fessy and ahead of Denny Cornu, of course. But Cornu ahead of him in this race in 17th position. As we look at Patrick Williams, just ahead of Nguyen and Denny Cornu, fighting away with Joseph Mark Lucas then. So Williams trying to gain ground after his error and get into the 14th position. Joseph Mark Lucas, by the way, has gained 5 positions. As look at this, Brent Rees makes a mistake now, and Glamsetter and Byland make their way through.
Slow down for
Brent
sure.
Rees
He's pulled off
right to a crawl. Oh, he's got something very, very terminally wrong with that car then, as he completely skips the hairpin, and he's trying to limit the damage there, I think, from that slowdown.
Yeah, that must have been a slowdown, some of that, wasn't it? Because Eddie completely got out of the way, and that's quite, I mean, completely got out of the way. That's very, very admirable for the California driver to do that. We started seeing Nicholas starting to pull in, but I want to see this 3-way battle at the moment here, and that's for Robert, Patrick, and
Williams. Yeah,
he
gets tagged off into the kiddie later and almost into the wall at turn 1 there. So very lucky to continue, but Patrick Williams will be feeling furious with that one there, because he seemed to have made the move and then just got tagged there, didn't he?
Yep.
Joseph Mark Lucas now in trouble. He's dropping all the way down the order too. So
3 into 1 wasn't going to work, was it? This is Lucas.
Yeah, so Lucas just after that contact seems to have hit more trouble, breaking way too deep. Just lucky he didn't take out Nguyen there, but he just completely destroyed his own race there, as well as poor Patrick Williams that was already having a bit of a difficult time. But Vestman now is continuing to set the pace and has caught right back up to Pedro Suarez. This is the first time in Austria, really, that we've seen Pedro Suarez challenged now after he ran away with Silverstone, to be honest.
Absolutely putting the pressure on. The Finnish driver has just been chipping slowly, lap by lap into our race leader. So the flying Finn versus the flying Portuguese driver, and you can see, this is the thing, isn't it? So Wesman Wiseman, he's been able to study, hasn't he, Pedrosaurus's lap by lap, and so he's starting to work out where he's starting to make little bits of gains and mistakes. That's the one advantage you do have a driver that's running behind the driver, isn't it? To be able to study and do that. But at the same time, you can also make those mistakes where you're driving his racing line and not your own racing line.
Yes, we should point out Vestman has 36 points to his name. He's 41st in the table, having only done 2 races so far this season. But he did actually have a very, very promising showing at Silverstone, it must be said, in the heavy rain, where I think he was top 5, top 4. So this hasn't come completely out of the blue, but certainly Pedro Suarez was probably envisioning a slightly more bigger gap behind him than he currently has. So Vestman taking advantage of the top speed down the straights, really, to stay in play here. And Pedro Suarez will have to get defensive then if he wants to hold on to this one. Into 13 and the 14 hairpin they go. And Vestman is nipping at his heels, trying to look for any little chink in the armor, any opening he could take advantage. Through 15 they go, now just 16 to come, and they're going to complete lap 7 and start lap 8 then of 34. But what an entertaining race we've had so far here at the Misano World Circuit. And we could be about to see a very, very hectic battle for the lead then, and Pedro Suarez will have to pull out all the stops. We've seen him walk on water in heavy rain conditions. Now we're going to see how good he is at defending from a car that looks very, very nippy down the straights here.
What you also get to see at the moment, and so Tony, currently running in P4, should be happy to know that Spain has just scored again. So now they've got the one up on it, and we're getting into the dying stages as well too of the regular time. So England are in a little bit of trouble.
You say
right
we
now.
have the one up? Are you an honorary Spanish citizen now?
No. Sorry.
Interesting.
They've now
I feel Jimenez can induct you at the end of this, but but we'll probably end. I think this will end before the second half starts. So are we in the second half already?
Oh no, we're in the second half. There's only a few more minutes left.
All right, so it's going to end before this race ends, and then everyone will switch over here, surely, to see this enthralling battle for the lead as Nicholas Vestman, the Finnish driver, slicing up Pedro Suarez. Will be move coming here. His last lap 128.8, another 10th quick. And the thing is, if he can't find a way through Pedro Suarez, the more comfortable he'll get, because you've talked about Vestman being able to learn what Pedro Suarez's lines are, but he'll learn exactly where Nicholas Vestman is strong, where he's likely to attack Pedro Suarez, and Suarez will respond in turn, knowing where he needs to defend and knowing where he can just focus on his exits rather than compromising his own to defend. As Evan Way up the inside of Christian Glamsetter, full 6th position into the first chicane. Superb move there, really well judged, and Glamsetter with just enough room, but no more than absolutely necessary.
Job done. That's perhaps something that Nicholas needs to maybe look at doing, but of course he's going to be focusing on his race.
Problem is that Pedro Suarez is way too smart and didn't create an opportunity, didn't make a mistake into the final corner there that compromised his run. But look how close he's getting. It's so difficult, especially in a single where there's a little bit of wake, a little bit of turbulence from the car in front. Just run that close for so many laps because it sort of does a number on your tires, doesn't it? So Vestman, he's got to really time things well here. He can't afford to burn tires in a fruitless effort where he can't get past. But he has got that straight line speed and that slipstream working in his favor then. Here we go, 12-13, and this time he gets alongside, and Pedro surrenders the inside then, and Nicholas Vestman takes the lead on lap 9 of round 5 here in Misano of the iGPFun Super Formula Lights League.
Wow. Let's have a look at the replay of that one again.
That was really began in the corners just before, where he just got a superb exit there as Brent Rees has overtaken Andy Flint for 8th there. But look at that move from Nicholas Vestman there. If he can win this one, it will be quite the upset. We've seen so many different winners, and Vestman would the latest. That would be 4 different winners out of the first 5 rounds. But here comes Brent Rees trying now to make even more ground and pass Kevin Byland for 7th position in his little Broad GP liveried car, of course.
So a few little battles. Christian Glamster, of course, and Evan Way have been going to go for it too for now. 4 minutes of extra time there.
Just past Byland, but Byland coming back at him in the background there. You can just see them squabbling away through the middle sector there. And here they come. And, oh, this is going to be very, very tight between Rees. It's almost going to be 3 wide here. Oh, look at this. It's Byland, Flint, and Rees. So Flint gets back past Brent, and Rabiard, I think, is getting involved in this as well then. So we've got Byland holding up a massive train of cars here. But Rabiard, who's fairly high up in the championship in 9th position, now looking to get into 9th in the race. But Andy Flint then, having been reparked by Rees. But look at Rabiard getting the triple toe down this back straight section here, but there's nowhere to use it, unfortunately. He's been sort of boxed in at the back here as Rees continues to close on Byland. Gets a very good run into the turn 13 and 14 hairpin. Very close and absorbing fight this. Glamsetter now fancies a run at Evan Way. He's going to take his revenge here. Gets the inside line into turn 1, into Variante del Parco there. And Glamsetter then for No Limit Sim Racing retaking 5th place, the Norwegian driver. But meanwhile, up front, it's still only 6/10 then between Vestman and Pedro Suarez then. So Suarez has sort of been able to keep in touch with now that he's got the toe and the slipstream down the straights. And there's no immediate threat from Kevin Zemstra, who's just under 3 seconds behind them on the road. But starting to lap slightly faster than Pedro Suarez as we look at what happened to Costas Tenebrail.
Oof.
Oh,
Knocks it up.
just a little half spin. Gets immediately on the brakes, though, which is quite sensible. So at least that didn't turn into anything worse. But certainly a massive lockup on the tyres as Byland here continues to defend from Rees, who's trying to look around the outside then into 13 and 14. And continues to defend 9th from Bard Rabiard. And Putnieks is actually having a very, very solid run, up 3 places from where he started defending from Robert Ridgway, as Rees now looks to the outside, the American, into the fast corners here near the end of the...
That's huge.
Entangles, Byland goes up in the air, and Rees, that was not as clean as he would have hoped for. Byland, luckily, just about avoids the wall there, and will be able to continue, but significantly further down the field then, down in 13th position there. So dramatic moment there for Kevin Byland.
Oh, wow. I don't see the onboard on that one. Because this is high speed, isn't it? You're talking about absolutely pull out almost. Let's have a look.
So Byland, for me, Byland went a little bit deep, and Rees was on the outside. I don't know if Rees could really have gotten out of the way of that one there in time. It was a bit aggressive because he was making the move from the outside there. Alongside at this point, Rees is just about ahead, but he's not got the sort of apex inside for the apex here. On a second run, I think maybe Rees should have backed out of that one, but Kevin Byland did go awfully deep into that corner. It's sort of a racing incident from my point of view there. But hard to judge.
Yeah, at high speed and wheel on wheel like that, as you know, it lifts the car generally quite a lot. So talk to Max Verstappen.
Luckily, Byland's still able to continue, but he is only 6/10 now ahead of Nigun and Denny Cornu having a great little fight there. But now Andy Flint has got 7th to himself and has been able to pass Brent Rees. Maybe Rees is a little bit damaged from that contact, but he's still got just enough straight line speed to retake the inside line into 13 and 14 as Rabiard has really been profiting from this up to 9th now. And he might fancy another attack on Flint and Rees here as we look at Nguyen trying to attack the wounded car of Kevin Byland that's not looking particularly healthy after its journey, its flight through the air. Meanwhile, Pedro Suarez still 8/10 behind Nicholas Vestman in the battle for the lead on lap 13 then. Ken Zempress closed a little bit, but not really enough to challenge. Nguyen desperately wants to get that a little bit closer to the top 10. So the big gainers so far in this race. Marcis Putnieks has gained 4 positions from where he started then, the Latvian. Denny Cornu up to 15th. He's gained 6 positions from where he started, and it's the same for Matthew Gracie, the American, in 18th at the present moment.
Good news for Tony out there. Spoiler alert, Spain has won the Euro Cup.
Thank goodness.
2-1. England had a really good shot towards the end there as well, too, of a couple of headers in that, but some good defense by Spain. Well deserved. Now I can stop watching that and we can focus 100% on the
there we go.
Race.
You've only missed most of the action, don't worry.
I've been focusing on both. It's
but yeah, and now Spain have won. That's good, because if England had won, we would never have heard the end of it. But anyway, we still haven't heard the end of the World Cup in 1966.
Yeah, that's true.
But Putnieks then, starting to be dropped by the Rabiard Flint battle. It is intensifying there. Flint just thwarts the efforts of the Frenchman behind him in the battle for 9th place. Andy Flint is starting to escape up the road and follow Brent Ruiz in 8th position. And now Nguyen has actually got Denny Cornu, who's now gained 7 positions from where he started on the grid to run 14th. And the pace he's going, he fancies a run because Cornu, he's about over half a second quicker than Kevin Byland on that lap. So Byland, I think, is really wounded at the moment after that massive journey through. It did look like a huge chunk of his car fell off after the contact with Rees as well. If you look at Ito, Team Stakehole, having a little look up the inside then of Matthew Gracie, trying to halt his charge essentially, but he needs to be careful because Joseph Mark Lucas, who's had a bit of a messy race, is waiting in the wings to take advantage. Flint, here he is, being just thwarted in his attempts by Fabian Rabiard, who goes almost around the outside of him there. So Rabiard putting in a very, very solid move there in the middle sector, and just going a little bit wide there as well. Let's have a look at this then. Yeah, just a late braking maneuver up the inside, sorry. And nothing Andy Flint could really do. He seemed to be caught a little bit wrong-footed there.
Oh, yeah. And, but Andy Flint wants it back.
Right out of the toe at the last minute as well. And don't forget, Putnieks is in that distinctive white, yellow, and dark blue livery. Latvian Arrows team looking to punish any errors from Flint or Rabiard in front of him. Suarez Vimala got the gap down to almost half a second there, as he was 0.2 quicker than Vesman the previous lap. But Vesman seems to just have that little bit of an edge at the present moment then, as we are at half distance in this race.
We've had an incident, I think, too, with the other... I think with Lucas and that Japanese driver, this is probably what's come out of this. I'd have to say this is
Ito.
2. Yes, so... Let's have a look at Joseph.
That's Ito just in front, and Ito drops it on his own, right where Joseph Mark Lucas, I think, spun himself early in the race. And that must be Patrick Williams that takes advantage. Williams, who sort of tangled with Joseph earlier on, didn't he? So he'll be happy for that. Ito just gifting him 2 places there in one go. And yeah, once the back end went, Ito was soaring the wheel, but unfortunately there was nothing he could do. A passenger from that point onward, sadly.
Absolutely, but still lives to see another day, even though I'm back in P23.
23rd position behind Talsma.
We're not even halfway through the race yet, so we're going to see about how these tyres are going to pan out. It doesn't look like this looks like it's going to be a very punishing track on tyres. I mean, you said it's basically built for motorcycles, isn't it? I mean, we don't really race car, open wheel cars around here very often. I'm aware of.
Yep, that's certainly the case then, as we look at Denny Cornu now challenging Kevin Byland after his spectacular flight and having to get very defensive.
Yeah, aiming a little wounded beast at the moment. This is probably a damaged under floorboard or something like that there in the Ron GTP livery. GTP. Did you see?
Yep, certainly.
Because you know how the what's the event on this weekend currently at the moment? That's right. The
Good Festival of Speed?
Yes. Yeah, Adrian Newey's released that new Adrian Newey Red Bull powered car. Looks pretty impressive.
And him and Christine Horner look very, very awkward, given that he's leaving the team and he's clearly not happy with certain actions that Horner's taken this season. As we look at Putnieks being put upon here by, he's trying to put himself in ahead of Andy Flint and being thwarted once more. And Robert Ridgway is closing on. There's no W in Ridgway. I don't know why I mispronounced that there. But Robert Ridgway is looking to take advantage here as Putnieks has got the inside line on Andy Flint, who goes a little bit wide onto the back straight there. So who does Robert Ridgway pick to follow in his atomic racing car? Looks like he's going to just do both of them, I guess, as he switches from the inside to the outside. It's still side by side between Putnieks and Flint, and it's Putnieks that gets ahead of Flint, and Ridgway is looking to follow him through into turn 14 there, and he's going to come out alongside as they exit into 15. And he's still stranded around the outside. It'll take a brave move from Robert to make it through here. as they are about to start lap 17 then and run as wide as they dare out of the final corner. Kevin Byland, I think, has lost a couple of positions. Denny Cornu now gained 8 positions from where he started, is up to 13th, just ahead of him. There he is. And the gun, he fancies a go at Byland then. So Byland seems to be everyone's favourite person to pass at the moment.
It does.
But Byland
gets the job back done. Yes, he says.
That was very cautious from Denny Cornu, and Byland had to get very brave on the brakes to complete that move then into Variante del Parco.
Oh, that's some late breakers, that isn't it? These things are very amazing in their braking capabilities. It's very almost Formula 1-esque, isn't it? Like how quickly you can stop these beasts.
Well, they're funny enough, they seem to be modelled on F3 cars, and no wonder it's Formula 1-esque, because Robert Ridgway has got the inside now on Andy Flint. He's going to try again, this time much more successfully, into that tight hairpin there, but that leads on to the backstraight. Andy Flint will get a great run here. As you can see, Eddie Amos, the Welshman, just trailing by 4 seconds in the background there. On his own, bit of a low rate for Eddie, unfortunately so far. Let's hope he can catch up here, as he is set lapping in the 1:28.9s, which is about 2 seconds quicker than Andy Flint. Flint could be in trouble here if he keeps being stuck behind Ridgway now. He just seems to be progressively falling down the order in the SRF car.
And still, as you said, Kevin Blind is still just maintaining it, but he's obviously got some speed. Probably, I don't know, in the corners or something like that, but maybe scrubbing a little bit.
And Eddie Amos immediately passes Andy Flint while we were looking away at Byland, holding up a train of cars there. And yeah, Cornu is going to be kicking himself and leaving the door open.
I think it's because he's gone off track.
Then.
That's what's happened. Let's have a look. Yeah, there he is.
There we go. Spun completely then.
Andy Flint's gone off.
So big. I thought somebody had kicked up some dust. Yeah, the rear end just going over the curb. And when you get that instability, it can be a bit of again, you're a passenger really at that point already. You've just got to get on the brakes as soon as you can and arrest the slide as soon as possible.
Was it a DRS zone sign? Did I say? Yes, it is. Why would you have DRS here? Formula 1 don't race
every
here.
Eventuality. Well, I guess maybe MotoGP ever introduces a DRS equivalent then, as now Byland's got Cornu challenging round the outside into, I believe that's an 8, and Cornu goes very, very wide, so it's backfired completely, and Nagun leapfrogs him then for 14th position.
Patrick Williams
and a big
has
spin
gone
in the
around.
background. That looked like Williams in trouble.
Yep. I was going to say not Sir Patrick Williams, but the other Patrick Williams. This one's from the United States, so it can't be knighted, but let's have a look. Yeah. Ooh. That's interesting. Now, yeah, I mean...
What was that hit him there?
Was he going to... It's kind of like, were you going too slow into the corner or not like that? He was on the racing line. He was taking the corner. I'd have to say, you always say the driver that hits you from behind generally is always the one that's at fault. That's what your insurance company will say anyway in your car. You there, Mr. Hunter?
Sorry, my mum
music.
kept bloody knocking on the door for no reason, and I had to tell her to bugger off, basically. Otherwise, she would just keep doing that.
Telling your mother to
It would drive
bugger
me
off?
completely
Wow.
insane. I mean, it's that or something I can't say on stream, so
Well,
would be my reaction.
I got it.
Just, yeah, okay, there we go. Someone's always got a soundboard ready. But anyway, so...
She'd kick you out of that house. Are you living under her roof? It's her rules. Here we go.
Well, I don't really earn enough doing commentary to live independently.
You
Seen
could
the
be
rents
you
around
could
this
be a
country?
bloody
They're
doctor or a
extortionate.
lawyer these days. You still wouldn't have enough money living independently.
Without the qualifications, no way. So all I've got is an editing degree, so a video editing degree. So I don't think that would do me very good. I mean, I've tried, but I've not had a whole lot of luck so far. But commentary's the only thing that'll have me, so I'll keep doing that. But anyway, I really apologise. That was very unprofessional to have to do that.
It's fine. It happens. I mean, I have sometimes some fireworks
Anyway,
going off in
let's
the window.
keep an
next to
eye on
me.
Byland then, because he's still defending like crazy. As I think there's something wrong with Brent Rees' transponder or whatever, because he disappeared out of 7th and now has reappeared in 7th. And look at this, is that Zomator has just found his way past Cornu, and he's having a go at Nagun into the final corner there as well. But unfortunately, the inside line there is not the best one, and now he sort of found himself on the defensive then. Rino Scatini from the UK, fresh off of the Euros defeat, I guess, wants to restore some pride by getting into the top 16 or 15 here. But unfortunately, Zomator keeping it very, very clean at the moment as Denny Cornu looks this way and that for an opening. Oh, and speaking of openings, Bylan goes completely off track and lets Nguyen round the outside of him. Nguyen makes an error himself, so they run side by side then into turn 8.
No, it's not over. He's not. He's a fighter.
Which one, both of them? Or
yes, yeah. Well, I mean, Kevin, he's not yielding any of these places, even though we think he's got a damage. Yeah, Brett Runes, unfortunately, is having a little bit of his connection to iRacing blinking. That's what that problem is. And so most of these drivers are from Europe, of course. There's only a couple of US drivers, so there could be... there's quite a few US drivers I could come to think of it.
Yeah,
but
here comes Nguyen, trying to get into 13th position as Kevin Byland robustly defends, fighting for every place and trying not to lose too much time here and trying to hold Nguyen, the Frenchman, at bay in that red and black machine. And you can see how much more grip Nguyen has through the corners compared to that wounded car in front of him. Meanwhile, up front, Pedro Suarez has actually set the fastest lap of the race, 127.737, which is just only slightly faster than Nicholas Vestman, so the gap's still 8 tenths. As you look, this is what's happened to Glamsetter then, as he had to let Evan way through due to a mistake. Yeah, he had too far over the curbs. And he did well to actually get on the brakes when he did and need to get out of that position because he would have been on the racing line. There's Glamsetter has not lost the position. He's just lost more time to Evan Way in front of him as Byland swerves across to keep Nguyen at bay. And Nguyen, where is he going to try and pass Byland here? Because he seems to know exactly where Byland is weak and Byland seems to defend it.
maybe the old switcheroo, but you got to get completely nose to gearbox on that one, do you? And then you switch it right back around there. You can see there he's going to come up on the inside line there, but is he going to have? He's going to lose the straight line speed because you're not coming out of the corner of the right proper apex. And then this is where you could do a switcheroo, perhaps coming up a little bit here, and that's what he's planning on doing. So he's going to switch. He's completely going off the racing line, which is going to help you.
He's not getting a whole lot of slipstream from Byland as he does that as well, which has probably held him back slightly, but he breaks very, very deep into 14. Now tries to get on the power here. Actually, this is a much better exit then as they approach 15. To the right-hander, the curbs on the outside at 10-15 can be absolutely brutal as well as these ones on the inside at 16, the final corner then. So lap 22 of 34. Nicholas Vestman has responded to the pressure from Suarez and pulled the gap to just over a second now as Nguyen almost gets sucked into the outside there.
So much speed,
very, very wide.
He completely misses the apex on that one, and that after all that hard work, it's just like that. You've blown up one corner. But he's got plenty of time.
He went a little bit deep and then went offline essentially, and that's really what's cost him a little bit of time. And now Zomator could punish him for that mistake as Nguyen goes very wide.
Yeah, you're right. Petrosaurus will start to put in some quick laps there to try to bring it to our race leader at the moment. And then, of course, Nicholas has just picked up the power there and responded to keep him at bay with 10 laps to go, 12 laps to go, actually. So we'll see how that pans out between those two. It's time to shine there. If Pedro has anything left in that tank, and a little of a lock-up from Kevin, and that could potentially lose him 2 places here.
No, well, it's certainly going to put him under threat for that 13th he's held on. And look at the gap to Andy Flint. It's now 10.7 seconds. Now Byland is trying to back Nguyen into Zomator. And then Denny Cornu's not far behind either. So it's still Battle Royale, all to play for then on lap 23 of 34. So we're getting into the last 10 laps quite soon here. What a race this would be for Nicholas Vestman. I believe Vestman has won before, but not this season. Byland gets a slowdown. And that's it then. Nguyen gets through, Zomator gets through, Cornu gets through, Reno Scattini gets through, and Joseph Mark Lucas.
Oh, he's got the pit road.
Oh, it is. He might have got a penalty, drive-through penalty to serve. Also, we see Rabiard trying to fight away with Christian Glamsetter. There we go. Glamsetter just reasserts himself up the inside then into, that must be turn 8, into 9 and 10 they come. And Rabiard, the Frenchman, is looking very, very aggressive. Maybe he's kept his tyres in better nick because we saw Glamsetter do a half spin at the final corner earlier. And maybe those tyres, it says no limits on the car, but perhaps the tyres are in fact limited and he could be in trouble here.
Yes, especially if you're going to be confident enough to go around the outside at some of these places. You can see the switcheroo coming up there, get back on the racing line there. And also, something happened to our race leader. I'll see if I can try to find any information about that, because just like that, Pedro shaved almost a second. Yeah, 6/10 or something like that, and got very, very close. Still is quite close. Let's go up and have a look. So I don't see anything in particular, unless you see anything in race control, but about
I can look at the sector times. I believe it's a combination of a pretty solid lap from, let's see, yes, it was sector 2, 35.6 for Suarez, 36.2 for Nicholas Vestman. So that suggests to me he either got held up by traffic or went a little bit wide, because they are starting to lap people now.
That's true. I was going to say there is traffic coming, as you can see on that track map.
Yeah, they just lapped Gavenda, I believe, and now Byland is next, having come out the pit lane.
I'll show position instead of car number. As you can see currently on the map there, you see the 1 and 2, and then this is 24, exactly what she said. Byland, who just, for some reason, well, we assume it's probably a penalty.
Yeah, it was certainly unfortunate for him, because he was putting on a great show for us. And it's come to an end. Flint is still fighting away with Amos, and then we still got that Glamsetter, Rabiard, and Putniek's fight for 7th position, which is still raging on. Suarez now senses there might be a chance to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat here and get one over on Nicholas Vestman, who passed him early in the race so brilliantly and so strategically, and used his strengths to full advantage here. But Suarez, we know how strong he's been over the past couple of races. Austria, admittedly, there was a big crash with the leaders that opened the door for him, but in Silverstone, yeah, absolutely went out and won that race with no help from anybody else crashing into each other. It was just him getting on pole position and dominating from the front while all the action happened behind. And now he has been right at the center of the action as side by side go Talsma and Dorian Arroyo. Are they going to come through cleanly as we see Andy Flint just reasserting himself in front of Eddie Amos, who started to challenge him?
Now we've got the traffic coming up to play again for our race leaders, and Pedro got a good exit on this one. They're currently up the road. Yes, we'll see how the
good news is,
yep,
Vestman is getting a bit of a slipstream off them as well down this long back straight. Not a lot, but enough just to keep him in the lead at the present moment.
And they are they battling up the road?
Violent still, yes.
21st and 22nd.
They're lapping quite similar lap times. He's not really made too much impression as Nicholas Vestman. So it could be sort of a bit of a stalemate until they get within blue flag zone, if there are blue flags in this game.
Yes, simulation, not a game, but yes. Well, it's a common courtesy blue flag. You know, we move out of the way if the racing leaders are coming through. But they're battling, and this is probably one of the worst times you ever want to really get involved in that. Thankfully, one of the cars gets out of the way.
That's Ben Goyette. Just getting out of the way after Byland got past. So he's like, once Byland gets through, he's like, okay, game over. And Kevin Byland's probably got to do the same thing soon. So Ben Goyette will be a little bit aware of that. He's dropped 2 seconds already. He's got to hope that Byland has to let him through at a really inconvenient point. And a little mistake from Vestman. You can tell he's being a little bit distracted by lapping cars and Byland ahead of him. So this could be the opportunity. Suarez needs the inside. Just opens up. He just avoids hitting the back there. And that could so nearly have been front wing off Pedro Suarez's car.
Yeah, I thought that was very, very close to contact at that point. So, yeah, had to lift off. It'll cost him a little bit of time, but that lap traffic might come back into play as we're seeing this further midfield battle here at the moment in the Hornet's Nest. And
and round goes Glamsetter for the second time in this race. That's such a shame for the Norwegian. But that puts Rabiard up to 7th, Putnieks up to 8th, and Ridgway up to 9th.
And they're still going for it too for now.
Right in this, yeah, he's right behind Putnieks. So Masters Putnieks is going to have to defend in that Latvian car. The Latvian Arrows leaves plenty of room on the inside. Ridgway is up the inside, snatches away that 8th position. Can Rabiard? Oh, Ridgway, that's Putnieks trying to go really deep on the outside. And unfortunately, he's not going to have enough overlap to pull that one off. And off track he goes. But will he stick the inside into 15? Yes, he will. Goes right over the curb there. But he can't afford to overtake off track, because that could get him in a lot of hot water. I believe that might have been what happened with Byland as well.
Here we go. That traffic's coming to play. Racing leaders, tooth and nail at it. Pedro is So thinking, all right, I'm starting to run a little bit out of time here at the moment. 8 to go. Well, 8 to go still quite a bit of time, as you know. Especially some of the mistakes.
It's a nightmare scenario for Vestman, though. You're right.
Yeah.
We've seen so many times in IGP that when you're trying to lap the back markers, sometimes it can go spectacularly wrong if they don't see you in time. Luckily, they've all played very, very fair so far. As Eddie Amos repasses Andy Flint then for 11th. So Eddie Amos is back where he started in this race. He was the only driver to do the whole race, start in 11th and go back to 11th. So then, I believe that's still Kevin Byland ahead of them, because Byland himself has got the pace really to match the leaders at the present moment. He's now less than a second behind Costas Tenebrail. So if Kevin Byland can pass Tenebrail, he might be able to persuade him to do the Ben Goyette trick. And in fact, Byland's already passed Matthew Gracie, hasn't he? So he's having a quite strong final stint, isn't he? The lap times are very comparable to the leaders, 1:29.1 last time around. Look at that defensive mode from Tenebrail, just in front in that yellow car. And that's backing up Byland, but it's also backing up the two leaders as well. Pedro Suarez senses opportunity here on lap 28, 6 to go. Byland now is going for the move, and you can see here from the rear-facing camera, the number 19 up the inside into turn 8 of Tenebrail. Tenebrail moves well out of the way of Nicholas Vestman, and he's surely going to have to let Pedro Suarez through around the outside as well. Gets a little bit off the throttle. What is he doing? Going so deep on the brakes. That's a little bit tenuous, and you can tell that's really put Pedro Suarez off because he's so careful not to avoid contact there. And that's allowed Vestman to escape up the road a little bit. That's a crucial moment then for Pedro Suarez, losing that time.
Yeah, Vestman, we should get a little bit of that slipstream here as well that you mentioned.
Cool.
And,
yeah, and he's a little bit being blocked quite significantly by Byland now. Byland has been ignoring blue flags for a while, I would suggest.
He's not moving at all. He's not yielding. I don't know if he's aware or anything. He should be aware if he's spotter, but he's like, I'm not moving for anybody.
Does he think after going into the pits there are penalties in the lead? Because that would be bizarre. You see Denny Cornu being passed by Nguyen and Joseph Mark Lucas passing Zoltan Zomator. Also see Glamsetter in more issues. I think Robert Ridgway has got past him as well. Oh no, that's Ridgway passing Putniet, I think. They're having a great battle over that position while we are watching the leaders still stuck behind the Kevin Byland, who refuses to go a lap down. He'd rather let the other lapped cars. Being lapped is for everyone else, I think, and not Kevin Byland. Rees sets the fastest lap of the race, 1:27.704. But he's 10 seconds behind Evan Way now, so Brent Rees sort of in no man's land. Thought he'd just do something to get attention in sixth position, I guess.
Yeah, this is very interesting, isn't it? This is definitely going to start really creeping in some frustration. I think the real danger in that wounded. Byland finally admits defeat and lets both of them through there. I think Nicholas Vestman will say that's a little bit late in the day, but he'll take it. Day late, dollar short. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing they don't use dollars in Spain.
I wanted to go back and have a look at this. You said this overtake, wasn't it? Was this the one between Ridgway?
Yes, this is Putnieks there on the inside, and that's Ridgway trying to get one over on him. So Ridgway had got very, very close, but wasn't quite able to complete the move then. And I think he's still being held at base. So Putnieks having a superb run to 8th at the moment, it must be said.
Well, with 6 laps to go at the moment, Pedro has got back in within that almost half a second. Well, he's just inside that half a second. We're just going to see Christian Glamster here. No, sorry, that's Marcus and Robert Ridgway.
Oh, and Putnieks just forces Ridgway to go the long way around, in this instance off track. And Putnieks has only done one race so far in this season, and he's 42nd in the championship, right behind Vestman then. He's on 28 points, Vestman is on 36. This should be a big boost to both of their championships if they can stay where they are. But Robert Ridgway significantly further up the standings. We see Denny Cornu having an attack on Zoltan Zomator. And Zomator actually having one of his better races in 15th position then. Him and Denny Cornu have both gained 5 positions from where they started. Joseph Mark Lucas and Putnieks has gained 6. There we go. Mistake from Vestman, and Suarez is up the inside then. And Byland is still getting a slipstream off the pair there. So this could be very, very awkward. As look at this, around the outside comes Vestman to try and counterattack. Byland, what are you doing? You don't want to get involved in this. This is beyond you, my friend. And look at this. Tony Jimenez is fighting away with Evan Way for 4th position as well while this is going on. There they are. Oh, and looks like Jimenez might have just been having a little connection drop there. So Evan Way gets into 4th position, and Suarez retakes the lead with just 4 laps to go.
Has he timed it perfectly for that one? Yeah, maybe. So 2, 3,
Look
3,
at
4, 5
Vestman's-
crucial battles.
Vestman's starting to look a bit untidy here. He's starting to panic now. That was that mistake. It was pretty much self-inflicted, it must be said, because he had plenty of clear track ahead of him. There was no lap traffic getting involved. It was just a momentary lapse of concentration. That was all that Pedro Suarez needed. And now suddenly, the hat trick of wins, 3 in a row, is looking much more likely.
Certainly heating up at the moment as Brett Roots just sets the fastest lap there.
He's starting to close on Jimenez, actually.
Yeah.
Only 8.2 seconds behind, but he's probably not got enough time to catch him, sadly, from Brent's point of view. As there's Jimenez trying to get back on terms with Evan Way, who's had a late charge in this race. I suspect there are a couple of drivers who've really been saving their tyres for these stages. I wonder if Suarez was one of them as well. That's Nguyen now up to 13th as he fends off Joseph Mark Lucas. Denny Cornu trying to get involved in this as well. As you can see, Zomator and Schettini, who was just weaving over the straight there. Schettini has been stuck in 17th, it feels like, for all race long. Desperately wants to get back where he started in 16th.
So Nicholas has dropped off a little bit. In fact,
Byland has unlapped himself.
Byland's
and now
unlapped
he's holding up Nicholas Vestman.
Yes.
Oh, you've got to feel for the Finn there, because that's completely wrecked any chance he would have had of fighting back against Suarez. So Vestman has, I think, made a mistake, and that's just allowed Byland through.
Yeah, not quite sure there's going to be a lot of positive talk maybe in the cool-down room later between these two drivers. That's for sure.
We've got 8 people watching in the YouTube chat at the moment, and one of them's me. So no comments, sadly, to read out then. So it's hard to tell what people make of this. I guess they're still basking in the afterglow of the football, especially the Tony Jimenez fans who, since after they won, Tony Jimenez has not had the best of luck then. So that seemed to be the turning point in his race, as Evan Way caught him, of course, and he just continued to lose time to Kevin Zemstra. You see Joseph Mark Lucas finally displacing again for 13th position then. So that's Mark Lucas up 6 places from where he started. And there's Nguyen trying to get back on song, and now fending off the attentions of Denny Cornu as Adam Talsma gets past Koji Ito. And Ito seems to have lost another position to Dorian Arroyo.
Ito's just boxed. Box for the Japanese driver, so
that.
he's going to drop definitely back out there and may still be ahead of Patrick Williams or Darrell, depending on that one. That probably is a penalty, as you'd mentioned.
Mistake there from Mark Lucas. That lets Denny Cornu and Nguyen through, and Cornu trying to make a double move here. In fact, he is going to make a double move because Nguyen goes way too deep into the hairpin at turn 5. And there we go. Denny Cornu up to 13th then. So a good final stint of this race for him, as this is the closest battle on track, really. Rabiard and Putnieks. Putnieks refuses to give up and is now giving the Frenchman a hard time, as look at Robert Ridgway just drifting around behind them, trying to pick a line and sort of squirreling around to look for any little opening behind Putnieks.
Meanwhile, Petro got a nice comfortable lead at the moment. You can see at the moment that Kevin just still doesn't want to give up anything, doesn't he, for that Norwegian driver? That's a lot.
I think
down.
Byland is still annoyed with Brent Rees for putting him up in the air. So he thinks he can maybe catch Brent and get some payback. But the problem is he's quite a way behind. Oh, and here we go. Another attack from Robert Ridgway on the back of Marcus Putnieks. And Putnieks is in sort of an unenviable position for, he's sort of boxed in the middle here. As much as he wants to attack Rabiard, he's got to make sure he doesn't leave the door open for Ridgway as well. And here we go. He's defending the inside now into turn 8. And Ridgway has sort of got to try and cut underneath if he can and get the run that he needs. He's going to be on the outside as they go through turn 10 and get ready for the long back straight then. So Ridgway, and again, brakes quite early and again looks to cut underneath the
Oh!
A little bit too close there for comfort, and bumps off. Thankfully, not too much damage. The steering's starting to look a bit bent though.
Yep, last lap as well too, so risking it for the biscuit. Paul Robert Ridgway, I mean, he's still got 3 positions gained, believe it or not, but he's had a couple of spins. It's certainly been in some good fighting. good fighting you can see between those cars as well too. Just a different racing lines you can take in and out, isn't it? The corners, and still you can be very successful with your exit speed and stuff like that. It kind of reminds you of that turn 3 in Austria, up the top of the hill.
It certainly does, yeah. As we look at Vestman continuing to be dropped by Suarez, so I think Vestman has just run out of tyres at this point as well. I certainly don't think Kevin Byland helped him too much. But I think you have to say Vestman, he put up a very, very good fight, but Joe Suarez has outsmarted him and beaten him fair and square, you have to say, overall. The way it looks like at the moment, as with now his glam setter desperately trying to keep Eddie Amos at bay. Eddie Amos challenging for the top 10. Who would have thought that going into this one? I'm sure Eddie Amos did, but I certainly wasn't expecting it. As here we go, Denny Cornu, who's only got to survive in 13th for one more lap. But Joseph Mark Lucas is fighting him. White flag being shown for all of these drivers as Nguyen is now down to 17th. Scatini is back in 16th where he started then. But here comes Pedro Suarez, who for turn 15. Only one corner to go now, and the Portuguese driver, he's been immaculate after a great fight with Nicholas Vestman. He is triumphant. It's going to be 3 in a row for Pedro Suarez to extend that championship lead. Vestman comes to his line in 2nd. Kevin Zemstra is 3rd. Evan Way is 4th. Tony Jimenez crosses the line in 5th. And it is going to be Brent Ruiz in 6th position, who I believe will maintain the fastest lap of the race. Brent Ruiz. Rabiard, here he is in 7th, has just got to hold off Pitnix for another corner. And Pitnix, I think, has not got enough of a run to challenge here. But nonetheless, great drive from both of them. That's going to help both of them in a lot of places in the championship, finishing in the top 8. Robert Ridgway with bent steering after that late attack on Putniex. You can see him weaving over the line. He will take 9th, and Eddie Amos did catch Glamsetter right at the end. So the Reckless Abandon Racing, that seems to have something against using vowels in their team name, in their Tron livery, they finish in 10th with the Welsh driver Eddie Amos leading the charge. There's Andy Flint. It's a sort of case of what could have been for Andy, sadly, for SRF. And there's Joseph Mark Lucas, who will have to settle for 13th then after a bit of an up and down race. Scatini there, just holding off Nguyen and finishing behind Zoltan Zomator in 16th, exactly where he started.
Yeah, good race. Very good racing. Not a lot of contact.
A little bit here and I mean,
yeah, not a
I
lot.
think Byland might disagree. Petniex and Ridgway might disagree too.
But with 27 gladiators, 2 of them had retired.
Great to see a fight for the lead as well, because I'm used to just one person sprinting off into the distance, and it usually being Pedro Suarez. So Suarez really had to work for that one, and full credit to Vestman. Was in it until the final 4 laps, essentially, when he got overtaken there, and then his times just seemed to about a second a lap slower from then on, and that's why he's ended up 5 seconds down. But take nothing away from Pedro Suarez and Hydro Race. Fantastic performance once more from that team. Kevin Zemstra, he is going to boost his charge. That should be up to 2nd in the points for him. Evan Way takes one of his best results of the season so far. Evan Way was 10th in the points, equal with Simon Fessi, and that's going to pull him clear, I think, into the top 9. Tony Jimenez, on a victorious day for Spain, he does hold on to 5th, although I think he would have been hoping for a little bit better, given where he qualified. Brent Ruiz, after contact with Byland, best he can do is 6th, but he does take fastest lap ahead of Fibod Rabiard. And Masters Putniex, the Latvian Arrows, getting their first top 8 of the season. Robert Ridgway in 9th with damaged steering. Eddie Amos, very tidy drive from Amos to 10th, ahead of Christian Glamsetter. Andy Flint finishes 12th for SRF. And it's Joseph Lucas, Denny Cornu, and Zoltan Zomato who round out the top 15. In 16th, Reno Scatini. Then it is Nguyen in 17th. Adam Talsma, 18th. Dorian Arroyo, 19th. Kevin Byland, a lap down, reluctant lap down in 20th. Costas Tenebrel was behind him. Then it was Ben Goyet, in 22nd. Matthew Gracie, 23rd. Kuji Ito, who had that late trip to the pit lane in 24th. And we believe the last 2 finishers should be Patrick Williams and Daryl Gravendo, with Sebastian Gravland not able to get very far in the race at all. I don't think he even started, actually. And I think Gravendo was 10 laps down, come the flag.
Yeah, I can't show the rest of those results for some reason. Just stuck. Well, let me.
Well, just trust me on
Yeah,
this then,
yes,
as I say.
exactly.
Recap the
Right.
timing screen. But there you go. So that is round 5 in the books, 34 laps of action. I was going to say a memorable race, but I think people will probably remember only the second half after the football ended, those who are watching live. But hopefully people watch it back and enjoy it. But for Pedro Suarez and Nicholas Vestman, could this be the first of many, many fights? Is that going to be the two that run away with this championship now? Or can Kevin Zemstra now is up to second? Can he get involved? Steal a few wins from Suarez as well. And don't forget the likes of Jimenez, Aberdeen, who wasn't here today, and Mackenzie Ruin as well. They could all be big threats going forward. But I think that's all we've got time for, Dean. So any final thoughts before we sign off?
Sorry, England. But yes,
It's okay.
Good.
I don't care.
Good work. Good work to the top pair. Exchanging Christmas cards early between them, and them for the flying fin as well too. Of Kevin, he was starting to catch Nicholas towards the end as well too. I guess a couple of handful more laps, so maybe able to do that fight. But yes, first time I've visited this track, first time purchased this track, so it's been great. Friend Edward,
Get your money's worth going forward then, because we certainly got some entertainment today. But thank you very much for watching. Thanks, of course, for watching here on JPBroadcasting.com. We've got loads more action for you later on. But that was round 5 of the iGPFun Super Formula Lights League here at Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli. I've been Edward Hunter. He's been Dean Biggles. And as our friend James would say, if he wasn't watching the football, what was it? It's something along the lines of, you never know, we might see you on track someday soon. So take care. Bye for now. And keep your eyes open for the next time we go racing here at JP Broadcasting and in the iGPFun League. See you next week.